A very good day to you and welcome to Herman Manyora's YouTube channel. My name is Jedel Kibero. It's always a joy, it's always a pleasure to have you joining us for these conversations that shape the policy and political decisions made by our leaders. I'm here with Herman Manyora, political advisor, commentator, university lecturer, and Naskio, you're in the medicine sector, but we'll not talk about that. How are you doing today?
Fine, thank you.
Conversation in the country. Can Manyora take this job if Ruto offers him David Ndi's job? Can you take it? Because our video was almost everyone talking about, hey, did Ruto listen so that you made that?
I'm not an economist. I'm not a trained economist. Not that I have much respect for the so-called trained economists. I was just chatting with somebody this morning and I said, Nyachae was not an economist, but he did some good work at Treasury. You know, Kenyans get over-obsessed with papers. What qualifications somebody has, what the titles they have. Somebody has written about me, some stupid gutter press. So I'm not an economist, but it's a job I can do in my sleep.
Easy.
It's not what it is. This is a simple job. But by the job I would like to do, if I were to do for Ruto a job, is to be his chief political advisor.
Not economic.
I can't do that. But you see, the economists will say I'm get crashing in their area. But I can do the job. I can do.
Yeah.
It's not about microeconomics. These are macroeconomics. Big issues you deal with. Yeah, that level. At that level, you are not into microeconomics. Yeah, so I can do it. It's more of political economy than the classroom economics. Yeah.
Talk to me about this national conversation that we've been singing on this channel. But before we get there, what is your take about yesterday's protests? Some say it was an anticlimax. We were supposed to occupy State House. You told me military wanaweza kuwa reluctant to fight the people. What is your general take of yesterday?
In terms of whether there was a similar thing to that of Tuesday, certainly no. In terms of whether there was total peace, again, certainly no. Because I moved around yesterday. Even today morning, I've just come. The roads are still empty. Town is not as busy as it should be, and certainly yesterday there was no business in town going on. The roads were clear. I went somewhere to have some chicken. My son and I were the only customers between 6 and even they closed and left us there for another 1 hour. We were talking family business. So you can wish to deny, but these interruptions are still there. So if you are looking at it in terms of whether there were riots yesterday, significant, certainly they were not there. But if you want to say there was, from the side of government, we have succeeded, nothing happened, we are back to normal, again you are cheating yourself.
There's a lot of backlash against people that were supporting protests and then later came out and told people not to occupy State House. What could have been the repercussions of Kenyans trying to occupy State House?
You know, it's not even a discussion I would want us to have. Not because of anything. I'm not even a coward. See. When I hear people talk, if they know my history, they'll just keep quiet. I've been through all these things, and I know. So I'm not a coward. But I know it's not a topic that is very comfortable to talk about, occupying State House. But if time comes for people to occupy State House, you can't stop them. That's what I know. Yeah. If time comes for people to occupy State House, any country, when that time comes, you can't stop it. So what countries do and nations do is never to get to that stage. That's what I would want us to talk about. Anybody who believes it can't happen is just a fool.
But the president has made this situation become possible of Kenyans conversing about occupying State House.
It's a conversation that I would be comfortable not to engage in because it will come with consequences. Let's discuss, if you want us to discuss.
Because I want the repercussions.
You see, occupying State House, from the experience we have with security forces, there will be casualties. Some of our young children will die. That's the only thing I know. If it's the military, they will not kill anybody. That one, you know. The military can only scare people. see, they are so friendly, and there's this bond between the military and people.
We saw that yesterday.
That's why anytime the military takes over in any country, you see how they are celebrated. You've seen in West Africa, one after the other. It was like that from the 1960s, when coups were a very popular thing. Even Idi Amin was cheered, everybody. There's always that bond between the military and the people. That doesn't exist between the people and the police. The people always view the police as enemies, the military as friends. So the military cannot be confrontational to the point of killing anybody. But you cannot rule out overzealous people and break of command. So it can be an ugly situation. Secondly, I would not want us to talk about occupying state house, because if the military are not going to kill people, if there are 50,000 people, you can't open fire on them. First of all, they will even overpower you. And you won't be the first people to be overpowered by civilians. And the army know these things. You can't. So it's not a very comfortable thing to talk about. Secondly, if you get to a situation where the people have overpowered the military, then you have lost your country. Is that true?
Yeah.
Everywhere it has happened like that, then you have lost it. But the better thing to talk about is, so what after occupying State House? People went to Sri Lanka, the palace, the president akatoroka, people were swimming in the presidential palace, wanaenda kwa kitanda, hapa ndio president analala, acha mimi najiwekelea anapigiwa selfie hapo. You saw people in parliament, Mr. Speaker. After that, so what? Uprisings of this nature, revolutions of this nature, do not bring in meaningful change. Egypt, where? Arab Springs. Because they are not structured, they are not organized, and they don't have leadership. And now demagogues arise and take situation and take leadership. And it never really works.
Yes.
Revolutions which work are revolutions that are organized, structured in Cuba, in Russia, in where. Those revolutions have leadership, they have philosophy, they have everything organized, and they take over power and they transform society. This type of leadership in Sudan, where people just the president runs away and the people take over, because a revolution leaves destruction in its wake. Property, systems, lives, you know?
Yeah.
So it must be for a purpose. Okay. That's why I would find Occupy State House not a so useful thing. But you can't stop it if the time comes. So that's the conversation we should have. How never to get there. Because if the time comes, you can't stop it. But what will be the gains?
Everyone is talking about Edwin Sifuna, the senator.
Yes.
To lead this generation. We saw him standing in front of police officers who were trying to shoot or fire tear gas towards protesters. What do you make of the opposition when it comes to these protests that we've just seen, and the leadership of the opposition, which for many people thought they would try to engage the Gen Z to take advantage of the situation?
If Raila had not, Raila has been very unfortunate. When Raila chose to cooperate with Uhuru, he lost his chance to be president in 2022. Because Ruto would not have been nobody would have been much to Raila in 2022 if he had not cooperated with Uhuru. That's obvious. Even Ruto would not have dreamt of standing against Raila. He got a chance when Raila went on the handshake. And then he capitalized on that until he's president. So if Raila had not gone into a handshake with Uhuru, I doubt that even Uhuru would have finished his second term. Raila would have been president. Yeah,
there was that possibility.
There is nothing. Leaving State House is not an issue. Where it has happened in many places. Leaving, and I said it when we started. Yeah. We are entering a stage in our history, and I recorded videos, and I said, 5 years is no longer going to be automatic going forward. I've said those things in the open, on TV, in radio. I've said it. In the future, finishing 5 years is not going to be automatic.
Before we finish about Raila, are we there yet with Ruto, where everyone is talking about will he finish his term?
That's the conversation I'm bringing on board. So when you are in State House, just know the 5 years are not guaranteed. A second term is never guaranteed. We are moving away from, the world is changing so fast. So I'm saying Raila was unfortunate. Yes. This time again, I'm coming about leadership. Yes. Who would have taken the advantage, who would have organized, who would have benefited from this youth revolution in terms of becoming president. If Raila had not engaged Ruto, Boise will just go and take him from Karen. Or if he's in Bondo, they will just walk up to Bondo and tell him, go to State House and become president. That will happen. Again, so it's squandered. Now you are coming to people like Sabina. It has to take some shape, and some time is required for these young people to move towards taking leadership. Taking leadership is not easy. It's not easy. I'm telling you, there are countries where presidents have fled, but nothing has come out of those revolutions. If you want me to tell you the benefit of this revolution, it's not in who replaces Ruto. That may be important now or in 2027 or 2032. It's okay, but that's not what this revolution has brought. This is a revolution. It's a revolutionary way of looking at things. It's a new world. And those who don't smell the coffee will be very disappointed. As parents, this revolution is going right up to the house. I talked about it yesterday.
Yes, yesterday.
Up to your homes. If you do not know now, the world has changed. As a parent, you are going to be a very disappointed parent.
What are we looking at, though? Is it
as a government, as a director somewhere, as a CEO in a company? CEOs just walk to the company. Everybody is shaking. They go to the office and issue orders. Jaribu. If these things are going to work. If you're running a company, a private company, this is going to affect private companies. It's going to affect everybody. This is a revolution. Not so much in who goes to State House, but in the state of mind.
Is it crazy that we're looking at a situation where we don't need opposition, we don't need representatives, and Kenyans are taking the supreme power as is envisaged in the Constitution on themselves, exercising their rights directly? What are we looking at when it comes to Kenyans thinking we don't need the opposition, we can just exercise our power?
That is the revolution I'm talking about. The power is in the mind. The power is not in the gun. The body is holding a gun, the body. Your body is holding a gun. Driving a APCU, whatever they are called. Those big ugly vehicles and so the tanks, water cannon, that is physical. The power is in the mind. So it is the mind that is being changed and transformed. Now, it's the mind.
Yeah.
The way of looking at things is what is changing now. That's the revolution.
With that in mind now, you've talked about a national conversation that we ought to have. What should be in this national conversation? Is it a conversation about BBI, NADCO report? What are we looking at if you say Ruto has to have a conversation with the people for him to have a successful or to govern peacefully?
This revolution is the one that will create the conversation. The leaders will not. Because they'll do, you are mentioning NADCO. They are talking, that is incestuous. They talk to themselves, think they are talking to the people.
Incestuous.
Yeah, those things can't work. The sooner everybody, you know what, you are the one who gives titles. Sometimes you give bad titles until I tell you, don't put Ruto so much in my titles. I told you to change the title, but the essential of the video remained. Nobody should be clever at that. Did I say that?
Yes.
Period. Nobody should try to think they are clever. Anywhere you are a CEO of a company, you are chairman of a corporation, you are chairman of a board, you are president of a country, you are a cabinet secretary, you are a father at home, you are a mother at home. Don't try to think you are clever. That era is this revolution, and it's not a Kenyan revolution. It's a youth revolution. It's a natural force. You've seen that video doing the round. A force of nature, a new force of nature. It is springing from across the world. The young people are revolutionizing the world. So that new force is what you are dealing with, and you cannot be too clever. So that conversation is not about people being clever. Ati weka Manyora hapo, Esther Nyonje akae kwa hiyo gender or regional Manyora ni Mului. That nonsense is not going to be there. That's absolute nonsense. Twende bomas. Hiyo hakuna. A national conversation is a national conversation. No illusions. No, it's a national conversation where you go there. If you don't have what it takes to sit on that table, don't go there. You don't go there because you are representing the Turkana. No. It is a table on which the best minds are seated, looking at Kenya 200 years from now, looking at the fire that is burning the forest, which is these young people. They have influenced American policy in the Middle East. Jews, you didn't see on American campuses. They changed the course of the Vietnam War. These young people are a force you can't control. And they are telling us, look here, your time is up. Your time is up.
Shape up.
You'll be our presidents, you'll be our fathers, you'll be our ministers, you'll be our principals in school. But only if you know the world has changed.
So what is your message, though, to these leaders that are afraid to go back to their constituencies? They're getting their CDF homes
We will forgive them, but they have to smell it. I talked to MPs. I was invited to speak to Azimio MPs in man's own lodge. I hope they are remembering what I told them. I told them a revolution comes and people don't see. I used a certain short story about sleeping through a revolution. Where a guy goes to a mountain hunting with his dogs. Then something happens and he took some drink from some person there. Then he freezes in time. He wakes up 20 years later. When the American Revolution has
already taken place.
Everything has changed. The world has changed. Sleeping through
a revolution.
I talked to those MPs. I hope now they can see what I was telling them. This is not the time to turn yourself into a fool. These are also dangerous times. Those MPs, those who were there, Raila was there, and his MPs, they would remember what I told them. A revolution has casualties. The main casualty in a revolution first is a coward, a traitor. You've seen in the streets what has been happening.
Yeah.
Cowards
and traitors.
Traitors. And those who don't see and don't smell the coffee. The MPs are in the category of those who don't smell the coffee. If they had smelled the coffee, they would have known these are their children. See how ni watoto wao?
Yeah.
See, these are younger brothers and sisters.
Yes.
And their children and grandchildren. When they don't know them. See, they know them. They would have felt the people that would say, hey, hii kitu mahali imefika. Hii ni wakati wa kuambia president ukweli. Tumwambie, we cannot ban the country because of 300 billion.
So I then want to know, there's an MP maybe wants to call you after this. What should I do? I voted yes. People don't.
The MPs must come to terms with what is happening. They must undergo a process of self-revelation, self-search,
reflection,
and cleansing, reflection, and they must now talk to their people. Yeah, they must. Each one of them must find their Damascus moment.
I saw John Kiari MP Dagoretti apologizing.
Hakuna haja ya kukimbia. Huwezi kutoroka watu yako. Watu wako hata kukula. Establish a conversation with your people. And if I was an MP today, I would champion the abolition of CDF. They must now know. If MPs didn't know, because we have said, if MPs didn't know, their work is in parliament. If they had been going to parliament to debate, to look at bills and bring motions and debate motions and look at government policies, we would not be where we are. But because they concentrate on dishing stupid money outside there in the name of CDF and people clapping for them, they have absconded their they have abandoned their responsibility, which is to talk on behalf of the people of Kenya, to interrogate things on behalf of the people of Kenya. Look at the harm to interrogate those things. The country enters into a serious relationship with America. But there's nobody talking about it in the parliament because their work is not in parliament. Their work is, so they must now retreat and let go this stupid money they are chasing. In fact, it will be very good for them to say this CDF, wache rudi kwa national kitty isaidie wananchi in a structured manner, not depending on NP. Let this money go to counties. Let MPs supervise to make sure governors are constructing, helping schools and other things.
All right.
Yeah. And make policies on education. Instead of trying to fight for CDF to give bursaries, they should come up with the policies to stop wastage, to stop theft, to stop corruption, create enough money to give Kenyans free education, so there's no need for bursary. Kutembea na vicheki vya upumbavu na kugawa. Hiyo pesa ikuwe Nairobi na wanafunzi wa Kenya wapate masomo ya
bure.
Kuanzia
Nursery.
Chekechea inaitwa
kindergarten.
Hakuna chekechea. From kindergarten to university.
Yeah.
Kuanzia chekechea mpaka chuo kikuu. Watoto wa Kenya wasome bure. Hapana kupeana vijibasari vidogo ndio upigiwe kura 2027.
But then we'll have to have a
wakiendelea hivyo watapata shida.
But then our next conversation will be about, can the psychology of the voter change?
Yes.
Because this will influence how our politicians
Then you are not listening throughout the whole show.
The revolution is here. The mind is changing.
The revolution is here. The mind is changing.
Thank you for tuning into this conversation with Herman Manyora. Until we do talk again, have yourself a lovely rest of your day.
Thank you.
It's very nice.